Welcome to the Sci-Fi Base. I'm Stan, your narrator. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more stories. Ned rubbed his towel over his damp hair, steam still curling around him as he stepped out of the tiny shower cubicle in his personal quarters. His muscles ached from another day of digging in the sweltering tunnels of the ancient city beneath the volcano. Duration paid well, but no one ever mentioned the heat or the volcanic dust that got into places he didn't know existed. He yawned, stepped into his room and froze. A woman stood inside, not just any woman. She was dear, a petite, curvy in a delicate way, with lavender purple skin that shimmered slightly in the soft artificial lighting. Her hair was a cascade of voluminous, perfectly styled copper curls, and her dark feline eyes sparkled with mischief. Her uniform was zipped halfway down, revealing a scandalous peak of her chest and a sliver of her stomach. A security patch was stitched neatly on her shoulder. She smiled, shy and radiant. Hello, human. I'm your assigned lover. Please comply. Ned blinked. She clasped her hands behind her back and rocked on her feet like a schoolgirl, looking too innocent for someone making such a bold declaration. My name is Leon. I've been assigned to you during your time here. He blinked again, still damp, still in a towel, still confused. Assigned lover, he repeated, a grin pulling at his lips. Is this a prank? Lean stepped closer, her cheeks visibly flushing a deeper shade of violet. It's not a prank. You've been here for weeks, and you always look tired and a little lonely, and the higher-ups thought you might need some company. Ned chuckled. The higher-ups, huh? Yes, she said, with a firm little nod. Then she reached for the zipper of her jumpsuit and slid it down just a bit further. I'm normally in security. I monitor Section 4 and the showers. Ned's laugh came out, startled and delighted. That ridiculous rule. They really do have security watching the showers. It's a high-risk zone, she said. Matter of factly, for theft protocol is very strict. I monitor shower feeds in the afternoon. My colleague Non takes over in the evenings. He raised an eyebrow. So you've been spying on me? Her violet cheeks darkened even more. I've been observing closely. Ned crossed his arms, the towel shifting dangerously. That's hilarious. Lean glanced at the bed, then suddenly leapt up on it with a graceful little bounce and reached for his face. Her fingers were warm. She kissed him quick, soft, testing. Please comply, she whispered. He looked down at her, stunned for a moment. Then he laughed again, softly shaking his head. You're absolutely unreal. He looked proud of herself, then playful. Her small hands tugged his towel, which hit the floor with a soft thud. She gasped, clapping her hands. Oh, you're reacting to me? Ned snorted. Don't your people work the same way? She shook her head. It's different, but I like how humans work. She leaned in again, and this time he kissed her back deep, deliberate. Her tiny frame pressed against him, feather-like. He broke the kiss and looked down at her, dazed. Is this really happening? Lean's smug little smile curled up as she nodded. Yes, very much. She started undressing while still on his bed, her suit whispering off her skin. He kissed his neck, shoulder, chest. Everything about her felt electric and alive. Then she whispered something that sent a pulse of heat straight to his core. Please carry me. And so he did. He scooped her up like she weighed nothing, because she nearly did, and held her close, his strong arms wrapping around her slender form as they made love. For the first time her hands clung to him, and her breath came out in quiet gasps and delighted murmurs. It was slow, surprisingly sweet, and thoroughly unlike anything Ned had experienced before. When they were done, she curled against his chest, warm and content. I'll be here tomorrow too, she whispered. I bet you will, Ned murmured. Every day after his shift in the excavation tunnels, Ned showered, returned to his room, and there she was, Lean, perched somewhere in his quarters like she belonged there. Sometimes she waited cross-legged on his bed. Sometimes she stood by his door with that mischievous grin and a barely zipped-up uniform, always ready, always delighted to see him. They kissed before he could put on clothes. She loved to climb him like a tree. It was the only way for her to reach his face. Leon's compact frame fit perfectly in his arms, and she clung to him during their now nightly ritual like a creature afraid he'd vanish. And Ned, he had never expected this job to come with it. Girlfriend assigned or not, but somehow This ridiculous situation had started. Feeling real, the workers on duration never mingled much, security was tight. Socializing wasn't discouraged, but with shifts timed around excavation rest and report logs, it didn't happen often. That made Lean feel like a secret, a spicy, sweet, very physical secret. One evening she rested against him, tangled in the sheets, her lavender skin warm and soft under the dull ceiling lights. She ran a finger along his jaw. I've watched you for a long time. You know, she said softly. Yeah, you told me. The male shower's very professional. He teased. She giggled. I couldn't help myself. You were so human, all muscles and grumbling in size in that little face you make when the water's too cold. You could have just said hi. Lean propped herself up on one elbow. Oh, I did in my mind all the time, but the moment I found out you were the only human worker, I knew I had to act, so I got permission to monitor Section 4 full-time. That's where I first saw you. Ned turned to look at her. Wait, you requested to monitor me? She nodded. Proud tactical repositioning of security personnel. He stared, amused. You are a menace. I'm adorable, she corrected, throwing a leg over him. And you like it? I really do, he admitted. The next day, something unexpected happened. Ned finished early, just a fluke. One of the excavation machines had overheated and they were ordered to stand down for safety. He had 2 free hours, so whistling to himself, he returned to his quarters, stripping down and heading straight for the shower. As the water splashed down his back, he glanced up at the small black lens in the corner of the ceiling. He grinned. All right, Lean, he muttered. Let's see how closely you're watching. And then he started giving her a show. Slow teasing. Afterward, he strolled naked through his room like it was nothing, humming. Exactly 1 hour later, she stormed in. Lean's cheeks were glowing a bright, almost neon violet. Her curls were frizzy, her pupils wide. She was flustered, breathing heavily, her uniform barely zipped. I was about to explode, she shouted. Ned leaned against the bed, post arms crossed. Good, she huffed and yanked down her zipper. You can't just do that while I'm on shift. I almost fell out of my chair. He laughed, unabashed. Didn't your coworker see it too? Lean made a noise halfway between a growl and a squeal. She was drooling. She asked if all humans were like you, and I said no, and that you're mine, Lean said proudly. Then she jumped onto the bed and pulled him down by the hand. Please carry me. Ned scooped her up without hesitation. She wrapped her legs around him and kissed him, breathless, murmuring things in her native language he didn't understand, but definitely liked. The sound of their rhythm was familiar now, but it never got old. She clung to him like gravity didn't matter. Her hands gripped his shoulders, her breath coming in gasps. Later, cradled in his arms, she whispered, next time you do that on camera, give me a warning or I might malfunction. Ned grinned. No promises. By now their routine was clockwork work, sweat, shower. Lean, the adorable alien security officer, had practically moved into his quarters. Unofficially, of course, she was there before he returned, sometimes even napping in his bed, curls fanned across his pillow like violet silk. She had even claimed a drawer. He didn't say anything about it. Lean brought her own touch to the sterile space, security patches, a few strange little glowing stones from her home world that pulsed softly when she was nearby, and snacks, lots of snacks, mostly purple and crumbly. She made him taste them all. You humans don't have flavor receptors in your cheeks, she asked, bewildered. No, we don't. He wiped purple crumbs from his chest. Why do you? She hummed smugly and leaned down to kiss his cheek, licking a spot playfully. Now you do. Her mischief was constant. One evening, sprawled across him in post-love bliss, she played idly with the hairs on his chest, tracing lazy shapes. You're leaving soon, aren't you? He hesitated. Yeah, few weeks, contracts almost up. She nodded, quiet for a moment. I'll miss you, she said softly. I'll miss you too, Lean. Her eyes shimmered, but her smile was still there. I didn't think this would work. I thought you'd find me silly or just use me. Ned rolled onto his side, brushing her cheek with his thumb. You're a lot of things, Lean. Silly is just one of them, and you're definitely not forgettable. She laughed, but there was a tremble in it. Okay, but I have to tell you something. Ned blinked. All right. She sat up, pulling the sheets around herself like a robe, fidgeting with her fingers. I wasn't actually assigned to be your lover. He raised an eyebrow. No kidding. She blinked. Wait, you New Leon, he said, sitting up beside her. No government or security protocol. Includes assigning Petite Purple security girls as romantic partners to lonely excavation workers. You didn't even bring paperwork I could have forged. Some, she offered indignantly. He laughed. You almost convinced me at first. But then you started staying over, eating half my rations, bringing snacks. The whole lover assignment thing kind of fell apart when you started cuddling me. Like a parasite, Lean gasped. I do not cuddle like a parasite. You wrap around me in your sleep like one of those sticky tree frogs from Earth. She threw a pillow at him. You're lucky I love you. He caught it, froze, blinked. You do, he said. Voice quieter now. Lean's expression went tough. Nervous. I do. His face broke into a slow grin. That's good because I love you too. Lean launched herself at him like a missile, knocking him flat onto the bed. Say it again, she demanded, peppering his face with kisses. I love you, he said between laughs. I love you, you weird little alien menace. They made love slowly that night. No hurry, no teasing, just a long, intimate tangle of limbs, breaths, and whispers. When he carried her afterward, just because she asked, she clung to his neck and hid her face in his shoulder. I want you to stay, she whispered, but I know you can't. Not yet. He didn't say anything right away. Instead, the next morning, while she was still sleeping in his bed, he filed a new request under security personnel applications with a reference request sent to Officer Non. Later that day, as Lean nibbled on a sticky snack and reclined in his bed, still naked and lazy, Ned leaned against the wall and casually said, I submitted a request to transfer into security. She blinked, then sat up fast. What, it goes through next week. If they approve it, I'll be back a month after my break. Her mouth dropped open, then she squealed, an actual high-pitched squeal, before jumping onto him and knocking him flat again. You sneaky human, she cried, kissing his cheeks a dozen times. You tricked me, he smirked. Tactical repositioning of excavation personnel. She beamed, purple cheeks flushed. You really want to stay? I want to be wherever you are. Lean clutched him tightly. Then I have to warn you, if you join security, you'll be my direct partner. Ned grinned. Please comply. The end came faster than either of them liked. The station's quiet routines ticked on as always. Machines hummed, miners sweated, reports filed, and security rotations logged. Ned's countdown dwindled from days to hours, then minutes, and still the moment didn't feel real. He stood by the docking bay in a fresh uniform, cleaner than it had any right to be. The crew leaving Dar was gathered nearby, already loaded with personal bags and souvenir trinkets. Ned carried only a duffel half full. The rest of his things had mysteriously vanished into Lean's quarters for safekeeping. She stood before him in full uniform, zip all the way up, hair perfect, curls bouncing even without gravity's help. Her posture was tight, official, her fingers trembled. Security officer Lean, he said, teasing gently, I think this is where you salute and say goodbye. She gave him a very shaky salute. You're the worst lover I've ever had, human Ned. That can't be true. I'm your only lover still. The worst. Want me to leave you a bad review on the official lover assignment system? She bit her lips, smiled. You wouldn't dare. I might. I was forced to carry you constantly. Extreme cuddling interrogated through tickles, monitored in the shower. You liked that? I tolerated it. She stepped closer and poked his chest. I'll miss you so much, it's physically painful. I'm coming back, he said, if the security transfer clears. Leon's eyes shimmered again like they had that night. She told the truth. I know, but still. Then her eyes narrowed. Wait, what if it doesn't go through? It will. I pass the screening, but what if someone tries to steal you? A different alien species with bigger hips. Do you patrol the docking bay just to intercept flirty aliens? Yes, and I stun them. He laughed. You're lucky. I find that charming. They were quiet for a long moment, breathing together around them. The other workers filed slowly into the shuttle, the transport humming to life. He looked at her. This is really happening. Hiya, I love you, Lean. She closed her eyes, then nodded. I love you too, with all my strange little alien heart. He leaned down and kissed her, not rushed, not hungry, just full, warm, true. When he pulled away, her eyes were glassy. You okay? He asked softly. No, she whispered, but I will be. He grabbed the collar of his uniform, tugged him closer, and whispered one last line. Please carry me. So he did, right there in Front of the shuttle in full view of everyone, he picked her up, arms under her thighs and back, and she curled into him. With her face buried in his neck, she clung to him like she always did, small, warm and vibrant, and for that last minute nothing else existed. The station, the volcano, the crew, all of it faded. Just him, just her. When he finally sat her down, she was laughing through tears. "Promise you'll come back to me." "Promise," he said, "and next time I'll be the one watching you in the showers." She gasped. "You wouldn't dare. Security rules." "Then I'll have to behave," she whispered, clearly meaning the opposite. Ned grinned and stepped onto the shuttle. She stood at the edge, arms crossed over her chest, still watching. When the door sealed shut and the ship began to rise, he caught one last glimpse of her through the window, standing tall, hair bouncing, hands on her hips, and smiling. 2 months later, Ned stood in front of the same security door he'd once been confusedly assigned a lover, and this time he wore the dark blue uniform of DAR security, patch freshly sewn. He still wasn't used to it. The door to his quarters slid open. Inside, Lean stood waiting, arms crossed, zip half undone. "Smile already. Forming your late blame. Orientation. Did they explain how to carry a lover properly?" "Not yet." She grinned, ran to him, leapt into his arms. He caught her easily. Like muscle memory, she leaned into his ear, lips brushing it. "Human," she whispered, voice soft and thrilled. "I'm your assigned lover permanently this time. Please comply." Ned laughed and kissed her gladly.